Hey guys, it's Bayou from Top Table TCG with a deck profile of currently one of my favorite decks in V format, which is Duel Knights. Yeah, just felt like recording it really. So let's just get started. Four copies of the main Duel Knight, which is leading Duel Knight Salome. At the end of the battle, she attacks. You can counterblast one to call any number of Duel Knights from your hand on top of an occupied rearguard circle, and then if your opponent's Vanguard, is grade 3 or greater, and you called 3 or more Duel Knights from hand, you can Soul Blast 4 to restand her. This is very good card. Basically gives you another board of attacks, and her restand also doesn't make her lose drives. So again, very nice, very Sanctuary Guard-esque. So yeah, very good card. And when a unit's placed on top of her, you can counterblast one to give it plus 10, to give the unit that called on top of her plus 10k and a drive. The drive only matters if Salome is on Vanguard. But yeah, giving something triple drive is for that cheaper cost is very nice. Anyway, onto the backup grade 3. When I say backup, you're running her regardless because she has the Duel Knight name. Pure Heart Duel Knight Ashley. At the end of the battle, she attacks. You can Soul Blast 2 to call a grade 2 or lower Duel Knight from the deck, and if she happens to be on Vanguard Circle, you call 2 instead of 1. Really good card, enables your multi-attacks, gets you 2 attacks when combined with Sybil, basically, or you can use her to fill up your board, depending on depending on the game state, depending on the game state. And also, she's not too bad of a back. You mainly want to be on Salome in this deck, but if you have to ride Ashley, she's not too bad of a ride. And still enables multi-attacks, although Salome just overall is a lot better on Vanguard Circle. And when a unit's placed on top of her, you can counterblast one to give that unit a crit. Really nice on hit pressure. I don't use it too often, but it sometimes comes up. So again, really good card. Moving on to the grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Exquisite Duel Knight Lael. When she attacks, you can put two normal units from the drop zone to the bottom of the deck to Soul Charge 1, and then she gets 5k power until the end of that battle. 15k attack on her own, so basically she hits numbers without having to boost, which saves your booster for another attack. Like if you have a Ashley in the other column, you have an Ashley in the other column, yeah. You can call it on top of Lael and still have a booster. That said, that might not even be necessary because her other effect is when a unit's placed on top of her, they get 10k power. Again, very useful, makes a unit beefy, and it also sort of salvages bad calls from Sybil, because that can happen. It doesn't too often, but it can happen, just to make sure whatever you call can actually hit your opponent. Again, very good. And also the Soul Charge you need for Salome, so that's just nice to have on the card. Second Duel Knight grade 2 is Dogmatized Duel Knight Sybil. On attack, you can put a grade 2 or lower card from her hand into the soul to draw a card. Very nice on attack filter, as well as filling up the soul. Fixes your hand to a degree. And when a unit's placed on top of her, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck to call up to 1 grade 2 or lower Duel Knight from among them and call it to rearguard, put the rest at the bottom. Just replaces herself when you place a card on top of her, so very nice. That card can be called anywhere, so it could even be called over the other side, which again, as mentioned before, combined with Ashley basically means you get 2 extra attacks after calling something over Sybil. So yeah, really good card. Next for grade 1, next grade 1 Dual Knights, 4 copies of Fruiting Dual Knight Eunice? Eunice. Whatever. At the end of the battle, she boosts. You can put a normal unit from the bottom. Sorry, from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck. Soul Charge 1, and you may return her from rear to hand. Very good card. Yeah, very good card. Gives you resources, and also you can bounce her back for either defensive purposes or if you need more names for Salome's skill. The other effect is also very good. When a unit's placed on top of her, you can choose one of opponent's rear guards under the same column as the placed unit and retire it. If there are no units to retire, then you draw a card. Early game, it's basically another copy of Morvidus. Morvidus is next. But it does give the deck a bit of spot removal. So if there is a rather annoying grade 1 in the back or something that is problematic to the game state, you can call Eunice to that column and then at some point call over it to get rid of it. Really, really nice. Really nice for the deck. It's also searchable to an extent. Okay, as next card, 4 copies of Morvidus. First effect, at Kennel 1, put a normal unit from drop zone to the bottom of the deck, Soul Charge 1, and give one of your other Dual Knights, give a unit with Dual Knight in its name plus 5k power. Good for beefing up, just good for beefing up your Dual Knights, especially ones that don't hit on their own, and yeah. And also, her other effect, when a unit's placed on top of her, you draw a card. So, yeah, basically replace it, like I said, with Eunice, basically replaces herself, which is very good. And helps you speed through the deck a bit faster. Alright, on to the non-Dual Knight support cards. We're running 4 copies of Absolute Blade Knight Liverot, however you pronounce it. Liverot's skill is when placed from hand, you can counterblast 1, search your deck for a grade 2 and call it to an open rear. If there is no face-up cards in the damage zone, you can soul blast 1 instead. Really good, because his effect basically means he's always live, and he gets you to basically any one of your grade 2 Dual Knights that you need at that point, as well as just fill the board in general, which helps fulfill the conditions for Salome. So yeah, it's basically like having extra copies of the other grade 2s in deck, which is very nice. On to the next grade 2. I don't see many people running this card in Dual Knights, but Knight of Conquest Wixton. The top effect doesn't matter. I'll read it for the sake of completion. During the turn, if my Vanguard is has Sanctuary Guard in its card name, it gets plus 5k for each grade 1 in the back row. That's never going to come up because we don't run Sanctuary Guard. Instead, we're running it for the second effect, which is when placed, you can counterblast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, call up to 1 grade 1 card from among them, and then shuffle your deck. Really good for searching out your grade 1 Dual Knights, and again, combined with Liverot, just helps fill the field even more, again, to help meet Salome's condition. It's also nice getting a Eunice from this effect, because it's basically just searching it to hand. But yeah, I don't see many people running this card, but I personally like him very much. Next, 2 copies of Laurel Knight Sisyllus. During the turn, if there is no face-up cards in the damage zone, it gets plus 5k, so it's a 13k on its own, 13k attack, a 13k booster, if you so happen to have 0 counterblasts, which is really nice sometimes. And bottom effect, when placed from hand on Van or rear, I can look at the top 5 cards of my deck, search for a grade 3. If any, I can add it to hand and then ditch something. Helps get Dual Knights from your hand helps get normal units from your hand into drop, to be able to activate some of your Dual Knight skills, and also help search your grade 3s. Really good, but not too necessary, hence why it's at 2. For triggers, 4 copies of the Grade 3 Heal Guardian Innocent Ray Dragon. It's 2 effects when it's placed from hand if you have not rode Grade 3 or greater units in the fight yet. Give your Vanguard plus 10k until the end of the turn, or one of your opponent's units loses 2 critical till the end of that battle. So basically, in most cases it's a pseudo PG. Basically helps to slow down any decks that want to rush you. Again, really nice. 4 copies of the Draw PG, Flash Shield Assault, because we want cards in hand. And we need the main deck room for Dual Knights and other such cards. If you can run the Crit Sentinels if you want, if you really want to kill your opponent if you want to defeat your opponent really quickly, but Draw PGs I think will always be better in most cases. And then the last slots, because there really isn't that much choice in V format, unfortunately. 8 critical. Again, we wanna take down our opponent as soon as possible, and we don't have much choice anyway. It's either that or running criticals or draws. Extra damage and shield is very good though. And for starter, starting Legend Ambrosia, because, and I don't know, I guess Sanctuary Guard, just a reminder that I used to play Sanctuary Guard, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, that was my deck profile on V format Dual Knights. A couple notes, I'm guessing. I had to look around at what else everyone else was. So yeah, that's my current list of my Dual Knight V deck. So yeah, that was my deck profile for V format Dual Knights. Very good deck. Can be very aggressive, although without sacrificing too much defense. And just I guess a couple notes on some other cards I've seen people run in this deck. Die-Connect Dragon, I think it's okay. On place, Counterless 1, Soul Charge, and I think it does something if you Soul Charge a trigger. It's all right, but I find the deck Soul Charge is enough to the point where you don't really need it. Although that said, I don't see many in the decks I've seen, they don't run it at more than like 1 or 2 anyway. In regards to the lack of Laurel Knights in the deck, I find, again, this is just from testing, I find that I don't really find it too big trouble finding Grade 3s when I need them. And if I am going to filter the hand, I'd rather do it through Sybil anyway, because that gets me resources. Again, Sisyphus does help fill the drop zone of normal units, so you can use your other skills. But I find that as you're playing through the game, it's going to happen naturally anyway. So I just prefer not to. Plus, it frees up space for other cards like Wigston. I've also seen people run Harold, although I feel it's a tad unnecessary, but I can see why it's run. It goes into Soul to give something 15k, I think, after your Vanguard attacks. A good card, but I feel it's a bit unnecessary, although most of this is up to preference, really. And also Rabble, again, up to preference. I was testing Rabble in Dual Knights at a time. It's very funny to drop an Ashley on grade 2, but I find the payoff isn't too worth it. But yeah, anyway, that was the deck profile for V Dual Knights. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and catch you next time, I guess.